Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of Miss Cranky Pants. I started this podcast at the beginning of the pandemic as my little way of doing something to help my fellow self-quarantiners. We're all in this together, and even though I intend to help, I find that due to this pandemic, I have become a Miss Cranky Pants nearly all the time. Miss Cranky Pants reared her ugly head for the first time just before the end of March. And for once, I don't feel alone or ashamed because everyone living through the pandemic is equally susceptible to being a cranky pants.
Well, can you believe it? Over a whole year has passed since we started on this crazy journey. A whole year. Well, more than a whole year, but who can keep track of time? 1 year. Now, I know many of you find that discouraging. 52 weeks of wearing masks, 12 months of constantly sanitizing your hands, 365 days of being alone. All alone. Guess what? You don't have to see that as a downer. No, you can choose to see that as an accomplishment. Think of yourself as a marathon runner, and you are in the final stretch of a 5K. The end is in sight. You've been through the most painful part. There was that time when you thought you weren't going to make it, but here you are. You're doing it. You're going to make it. There is hope. As long as you can figure out how to schedule that vaccine appointment. I didn't realize just how much of a cranky pants I could be until I tried to log on to the VAM's website. Just don't get too careless between dose number 1 and dose number 2. Technically, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And I'm not singing just yet. But like a marathon runner and even opera singers, did you see what I did there? It's important to stay hydrated. First tip of the day, be sure to drink 8 glasses of water a day to optimize your physical and mental health. Now, I gotta tell you, I'm completely COV-HYDRATED. After a full year of this I am COV-HYDRATED. Yup, I'm COV-HYDRATED. I am so over and done with this son of a COVID that I am overflowingly COV-HYDRATED. How am I? I'm done. I've had it. But enough about me. Where was I? Oh, yes. Be sure to drink 8 glasses of 8 ounces of water every day. Now on to this week's letters. Our first letter is from Miss Mary Catherine Pain-in-the-Budinsky.
Dear Miss Cranky Pants, the last few months I have really enjoyed being in my cave and hibernating. I haven't wanted to talk to or to see anyone. I didn't see any reason not to stay up all night in the darkness and to wear my fleece pajamas and a robe all day. Actually, it gave me an appreciation of what it must be like to be a bear. But now that we've sprung forward and have more daylight, I still feel like hibernating and staying to myself. People make me irritable and weepy. I don't want to do anything, and I don't want to be with anyone. I've had my first dose of the vaccine, but I really don't see the need to go anywhere, even after I get my second dose of the vaccine. I'm not ready to go back into the world. I don't want to go back to normal life. I'm quite happy working remotely and shopping through Amazon and Instacart. Signed, MCP.
MCP. Try not to think of yourself as a Budinsky. Rather, think of yourself as a most compassionate person. Can you be more compassionate with yourself? What would happen if we showed ourselves the same compassion we would show another person? I think we would be understanding and accepting and offer our best non-judgmental advice. I want to share with you a great checklist I found for checking in with yourself. Pro tip, I keep mine hanging on the refrigerator door where I'm sure to see it at least 17 times a day. This checklist can help you reconcile what's happening with the pandemic and the world so that when you are ready, you can face people again. It's called Everything is Awful and I'm Not Okay, Questions to Ask Before Giving Up. The title really spoke to me, partly because question number 1 is, are you hydrated? We just covered that, and partly because, quite honestly, I have felt like giving up. I wouldn't be surprised if we all have at one point or another over the last year. But this infographic covers all the basics, physical, emotional, and intellectual, with simple steps and questions to help you move forward every day. That is my pep talk to myself. And I really need it, which is why I wrote this letter to myself. Some days I don't feel like taking my own advice, and I'm the worse for it. So a few days ago, after not showering or getting dressed for 3 days, I realized it was time I did take my own advice. So let's do this quiz together. Have you showered in the last week?
Have you stretched your legs in the past day?
Have you said something nice to someone in the past day? You are beautiful.
Have you moved your body to music in the past day? Have you cuddled a living being in the past few days? If daytime, are you dressed? If nighttime, are you sleepy and fatigued by resisting going to sleep? Do you feel ineffective? Do you feel paralyzed by indecision?
Before making any major life decisions, have you waited a week? I know I promised you letters from Negative in Nashville and Worried in Worcester. I'm out of time today, but don't worry. I personally reached out to both of them already, and then I answered no to do you feel ineffective. That reminds me of something I want to point out. Read these questions carefully. For example, question 2, have you eaten in the past 3 hours? I read that wrong at first. Went to the kitchen and ate for the next 3 hours till I was stuck with every last salty and sweet thing I had in the house. Only when I started a midweek Instacart order did I notice my mistake. Oops. So what happens when I take my own advice? Today, I'm feeling more optimistic. If you can do one thing to take care of your body, mind, and spirit, you will get through this. Then, as soon as I'm able, I'm ready to run down the street and hug any and everyone I come in contact with. Then I'm going to go to the first restaurant I come upon, and I am going to sit at a table that's right next to a table with other people. Better yet, I'm going to sit at the counter, and then I'm going to the store and walk in the opposite direction the arrow on the floor tells me, and get in line directly behind the person in front of me. And I'm going to do it all maskless. Wow, you weren't supposed to see that. Just remember, I'm here for you. You are not alone, and our Patreon supporters have your back. As we are all reaching our point of COV hydration, just remember, breathe and stay hydrated. Thanks for joining me today. I really have to go pee. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Miss Cranky Pants, where we hear from Lousy in Louisville and Disagreeable in Dallas. Tell your friends and Stay safe.